What's going on, everybody? It's Fires here, back with another WoW lore deep dive, and what better way to celebrate the Midnight launch than with a deep dive on one of the new dungeons from Midnight, the Windrunner Spire. So, let's just get right into it. In the shadow-scarred lands of Kel'Thalas, where winds whisper through broken towers, where past refuse to stay buried, one place stands as a monument to grief, betrayal, family, and most of all, legacy. The Windrunner Spire. I'd posted a poll on what lore deep dive you guys had wanted to see next, and it literally was split evenly between 4 options, so I figured, okay, we'll just do none of these options. But back to the video. Once the proud home of Azeroth's most legendary ranger family, it's now a haunted battleground where spirits refuse to die. Today we're diving into the Windrunner Spire, one of the most emotional and lore-heavy dungeons we've ever seen. That just came out with the release of Midnight. We're going to be breaking down its story, its bosses, its secrets, and why this dungeon might be the most important setup for the future of the Windrunner sisters. What is the Windrunner Spire? The Windrunner Spire, in essence, is a 5-player dungeon introduced in the new Midnight expansion, which comes out today as I'm recording this video, actually. One of 8 new dungeons added to the expansion's launch lineup. But unlike many dungeons, this one doesn't seem to be just about loot or levels. It seems to be about history. The Spire itself was once the ancestral home of the Windrunner family, Illyria, Sylvanas, and Verisa, the 3 sisters who shaped the fate of Azeroth. Located in the Ghostlands, the Spire has long been haunted by tragedy. After the Scourge invasion of Quel'Thalas, the area fell to the undead, banshees, and cultists, leaving the once noble home corrupted and abandoned. Over years, the Spire has been reclaimed, lost, and then reclaimed again, each time leaving more scars. We've returned not just to fight, but to uncover the buried history of the Windrunner family themselves. Now, obviously, this dungeon isn't just a randomly placed filler dungeon. It's deeply tied to the emotional fallout of all 3 of the sisters. According to the adventure guide, Windrunner Spire reflects the fractured relationship between Illyria, Sylvanas, and Verisa. Their pain, their conflict manifesting into a haunted spiritual presence. A presence that traps restless souls within the Spire. In other words, this dungeon is literally built from unresolved trauma. Every room you walk through feels less like a military mission, and more like stepping through the memories of a broken family. Ghosts linger here, banshees roam the halls, and something deeper binds the spirits to this place, preventing the spirits from ever finding true peace. The Spire itself is a 4-boss dungeon with a mostly linear layout. You're not getting like a classic WoW dungeon where it's like 40 fucking bosses. But some paths can be tackled in different orders depending on your route, so it's not completely linear, but it is a lot more linear than, some dungeons. The entire experience feels like ascending through a haunted elven stronghold. Starting in corrupted gardens, moving through ruined halls, and ending in a deeply personal and emotional climax. It's not just another Mythic Plus run, it's a ghost story. First boss you're going to encounter is Emberdawn. Emberdawn's a territorial creature that has taken over the Spire's gardens, nesting among the ruins. Lore-wise, she represents the wild forces reclaiming what the elves abandoned. Nature twisted by death and magic. She guards her territory fiercely, making this opening fight feel like you're intruding on something ancient and dangerous. Because you really are. Tone-wise, this fight sets the mood. You're really not welcome here. Now, the second boss you're going to encounter is called the Derelict Duo. This encounter introduces a darker theme into the dungeon. A banshee named Callus and her abomination servant Latch led a group of Sylvanas loyalists searching the spire for relics tied to the Banshee Queen. These fanatics believe the spire still holds echoes of Sylvanas' power, and they'll do anything to claim that. This fight represents a lingering influence that the Banshee Queen had on Azeroth, even after everything that happened. Her shadow still haunts this place. The third boss you're going to encounter is Commander Kroluk. By the time you reach him, the dungeon shifts. The conflict in the dungeon becomes more militaristic, with you fighting like hordes of soldiers up to get to him. Kroluk stands as a hardened commander holding the inner spire, representing those who seek to control its power rather than simply haunt it. The deeper you go, the more the dungeon feels like a battleground for control over the Windrunner legacy itself. And he's a great example of that. The final boss you're going to encounter is the Restless Heart. It's not just a monster, but it's a manifestation. The Restless Heart is a haunted spiritual entity formed from grief, formed from betrayal and unresolved pain tied to the family of the Windrunners. It embodies the emotional scars left behind by the sisters' fractured relationships, Illyria's absence, Sylvanas' fall, and Varisa's grief. Everything coalesces into this boss. And to complete the dungeon, you have to put that pain to rest. Or at least you have to survive it. This dungeon feels like more than just a side story. It's clearly building towards the future of the Windrunner sisters in Midnight. We already know the expansion heavily involves void threats and elven history, and the Windrunner Spire sits right at the emotional center of that story. By forcing players to confront the past of the Windrunner family, Blizzard is reminding us the story of Azeroth isn't just about cosmic forces. It's about characters, it's about family, and most of all, it's about consequences. This dungeon really feels like a setup for something much bigger. Let me know what you guys think in the comments they could be trying to set up here. I personally have no clue. Windrunner Spire isn't just another dungeon to farm. It's a memorial, a haunted house even, and a reminder that some wounds never truly heal. As Midnight continues, the Windrunner legacy is far from over. So the real question is, are we here to cleanse the past? Or are we here to awaken it? Thank you guys for watching this short deep dive. With the launch of Midnight, I figured I'd start up a new one, and what better way to do it than with the most iconic sisters in the whole game. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see for the next WoW deep dive, and I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.